Tilehurst End Podcast.
By Reading fans, for Reading fans.
Hello, after a 2-week break for the international break, the Tilehurst End Podcast Extra in association with the Wokingham paper is back. I'm your host, Olly Allen, the assistant editor at the Tilehurst End, and as ever, I'm delighted to be joined by the Wokingham paper's Tom Crocker. Tom, hi, how are you?
Afternoon, Ollie. Good, thank you. It's been a good couple of weeks, and obviously straight back to it this weekend now, so looking forward to it. Yeah,
we've been given 2 weeks to be able to bask in the glory of the wonderful defeat at Derby 2 weeks ago, and that is exactly where we're going to start. If you cast your minds back 2 weeks ago to that truly brilliant win, really, at Pride Park, the goals coming from Liam Moore, Sonny Aluko, Roy Behrens, and Mo Barrow. We said this after Forest, Tom, but was this Reading's best performance of the season so far?
Yeah, certainly. It's obviously the most eye-catching result, I think. They went up there and really took the game to Derby, and obviously they were pretty much home and hosed before Derby staged a little comeback, but it was very much all Reading, really. And yeah, it's obviously the win against Forest was a big boost, but to go up to Derby and do that, I think it sort of silences any other sort of doubters there were that maybe the Forest game was a bit of a one-off. I think they've shown now they've gone to Leeds and won, they've gone to Derby and won, and there's still plenty to this Reading team. There's still a lot of players missing from that side, but they went up there and obviously they had the sort of the fluent front two, front three again, and it worked really well, and they just looked dangerous all day. Could have had a few more goals as well, and yeah, it's a really, really encouraging performance. Though they had a good home performance against Villa as well. But I think this result away is certainly the best one they've managed so far. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's only the second time on the Upstand they've scored 4 goals in the game. Obviously, the other one coming against Burton on the last day of last season. But tactics-wise, with Sam Smith and John Daddy Bodvarsson both injured, Yanker still not quite fit enough to start, we started again with no striker up front, with a front three of Roy Behrens, Mo Barrow and Sonny Aluko. And obviously all 3 of those scored. Is Stam starting to realise that, sort of utilising the raw pace that the Reading have got going forward can really be a threat to teams?
Yeah, he's obviously brought all these guys in recently, and he wants to use the pace they've got, and I think ideally he'd rather have maybe Jan starting up front, but he didn't have the options at Derby especially, so he had to sort of mix and match with it. Obviously he's done that anyway before, even when he has had the options, but yeah, they showed what they can do, and I think that's probably what he's been looking for with that sort of front line. And it's a few games it's not really looked like working. They've been lacking a focal point at times, but I think they showed in that game sort of the plan when those 3 play up together. That's what the plan is to try and do, and obviously it won't work every time, but yeah, it's certainly very encouraging. It's great to see Sonny Aluko off the mark now. It's 2 goals in 2 games for him, and that's obviously great news for him as well when he's playing often up front through the middle. So yeah, obviously you say they've all got goals to their name as well, and with the other guys, the other strikers coming back in to fitness now, there's going to be great options up front, and that's what you need. You need to have the option to play with a sort of fluid front line like that, or go with a Jan or a Bodvarsson and have more of a focal point. So you need both options, and certainly that'll be a big confidence booster to everyone that when those 3 play that they can deliver.
Absolutely. The result, of course, was actually pretty unexpected. I think no one predicted a win for Reading in the Prediction League, but it does leave Reading 80th in the Championship on 18 points, 6 off the relegation zone and 8 off the playoffs with a game in hand. Is this sort of the questions over Stam's job sort of put to bed now?
Certainly for now. I think like we've said the last couple of weeks, I think it can change so quickly, and 2 wins, they're still sort of 18th. I think they've got a game in hand, and they've got a few games coming up now in a row, and pick up a couple of wins there and they'll jump up the table. I think they say not many people expected them to go to Derby and win. I think that's kind of more down to the fact Derby were in great form when Reading went up there. So to go there and win, like I say, it's a big statement, I think, from Reading that they're still a force to be reckoned with in this league, even though the table doesn't really show it at the moment. All the sort of opposition managers always say Reading are in a false position, so they're clearly still seeing them as a threat. And yeah, I think obviously a win like that will calm down talk about the manager. A couple of defeats and it'll probably pop up again, but right now it's sort of it's not on the agenda really when you speak to Yap. It's not something that comes up because obviously it's been 2 weeks and 2 wins, and it's been a long time when you look back at it now since that talk was going on. So yeah, I think obviously I always said it was the right decision to stick with him, and it's looking like that now. And yeah, they're certainly finding the performances again, and hopefully a couple more wins in the next week or so.
We'll look ahead to the Wolves game in just a bit, but is it the sort of, obviously now with 2 wins in a row, is this the sort of run that Reading need to be getting on to getting that momentum, to trying to get some some more wins together and really climbing up the table to try and get back into contention for those playoff spots.
Yeah, like I say, obviously they're 18th at the moment. They do have that game in hand, and in terms of the actual points up to the sort of top six, it's not too many. It's just so many teams to try and climb above, but a couple of wins and they will jump up there. I think the focus still is very much on trying to be in the mix for top six this season, and yeah, I think like you say, they just need to get on a bit of a run now. They haven't really had that all season, and that's why they're down where they are. They keep getting a good win and then dropping away. Obviously won at Leeds and then lost, and then now they've had this win at Derby. They need to really back it up at home. Although Wolves is going to be a tricky one, but they have got some after that where they would certainly be looking at getting some points in. So I think over the next couple of weeks, there's certainly games in there where you look at it and go, yeah, that these are games that they should be winning if they're serious about where they want to be. And I'll back them to do that. Really, I think a couple of wins in those. I think four games coming up quickly. If they can get 2 or 3 wins out of that, they'll be a lot higher up in the table and certainly be looking up rather than down.
Do you think the international break sort of perhaps came at the wrong time? Obviously, if they wanted to keep that momentum, or was it a good thing that the 2-week break had, so they can look back and they can see what they've done right and sort of enjoy the moment, so to speak?
Yeah, it's always something sort of we ask Gap about. I think it's more of the fact that it was a bad time for the momentum, but it's come at a good time because the injury list is so long, and it's just given them a chance to get a few more players back fit again. So yeah, obviously they would have liked to carry on playing when you're winning, but like we've seen, it doesn't make too much difference. I think we went into that first break after winning at Birmingham, and then it didn't really have much effect. So yeah, it is what it is, and now I think it's quite a while now till the next break, which is always a good thing. Now you can just fully focus on the next few months, and yeah, I think it's been helpful because you saw the bench against Derby, and there was quite a few of the academy players on it there, and you have to wonder if a couple more games in quick succession might have taken a couple more of the first team players out of action. So certainly, I think it's been a useful break, and like you say, it's just calmed everything down for the 2 weeks. Really, not having any games and people being a bit happier after back-to-back wins. Everyone's calmed down around the place, and it's just more of a buoyant mood now.
Definitely, yeah. So moving on to the international break, then obviously with no club football, it seems some newspapers have sort of gone into meltdown about they've sort of started bringing transfer rumours back, despite the fact that it's still just under 2 months until the window opens. So we've had 3 sort of rumours in a sense in the last couple of weeks. I thought we'd go through them one by one, and you can either rubbish them or say whether there's a little bit of truth in them. So first of all, we had a bit of a strange one. We had Brian Tveraden to Vitesse. Obviously, Brian Tveraden, not a player, obviously the director of football at Reading. There was I think the Daily Mail linked him with a move back to Holland there. I think Vitesse are looking for a new director of football. Is there any chance you think that they could snatch him?
I can't see it. I mean, it's that certainly came out of the blue. Really, it was a bit of a surprise, and it seems very much like a team thing between Jaap and Brian. I wonder if when one goes, would the other one follow? But yeah, I think now Jaap and Brian have got this vision and this plan. I don't see that changing. I don't see why he'd want to go back to Holland. And whenever you hear from Brian, he's very very committed to Reading at the moment, and they're sort of halfway through a plan really. And I don't think he'd leave it if they wanted to get back to the Premier League. I think 3 years was the sort of the plan, and they did really well in the first year, and I don't think now would be the right time to walk away. I can't see him wanting to go back to Holland just yet, having of course he's run Ajax before, so it's not something that I can see him doing anytime soon. Obviously maybe one day he'll want to go back there, but right now he seems very happy where he is, and him and Jaap are working well together, and yeah, I don't think he'll be leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be a step up, but I think it more of a sideways move. I'm not quite sure. I think we saw him linked to Derby earlier in the year and sort of rubbish that away. And I think if he were to leave, it would probably be to sort of a Premier League side that was sort of with that sort of structure in place. Next up, then we had Jordan Much. This one came out a little bit out of the blue, much like the Tveraden rumour. But the Mirror linked Jordan Much with another loan move to Reading. Obviously, Jordan Much spent time here on loan back in the last season. Scored on his debut at Ipswich, but then didn't really do much else after that. I think his last appearance might have been the 7-1 against Norwich, and then sort of just was completely frozen out by Statham after that. Again, has this got legs at all? No,
absolutely no chance. I don't think anyone thought it had any scent of truth at all when they read it either. I don't know who would have even started that one, whether it's just an agent saying that he liked his time at Reading or something, but even that seems a bit strange when he was frozen out towards the end of the season. So
yeah.
I don't think he's featured for Palace at all, really. I think he's injured at the moment, actually, anyway. And yeah, if he comes in, he won't be any higher up the pecking order than he was last year. I don't think they've lost Danny Williams, but they've brought in players anyway. So it would make no sense. And then he asked Yaps about it, and yeah, he basically just said no, it's definitely not going to happen. So that's one we can sort of cross off the list, definitely.
Yeah, completely agree. I think there'd be no single fan in the Mazda at all that would like Jordan Much back at Reading. Finally then, perhaps a little worrying one. There's a rumour linking Liam Moore to Celtic a couple of days ago from the Daily Record. And I think I've seen just before we came on to record as well, there's been a new rumour about likes of West Ham and Stoke also potentially keen on Liam Moore. They rated him at £5 million, which I think is a little bit cheap, considering that he's on a new 4-year contract in the summer. So I think Reading would be looking to get at least 10 million for him. But do you think there is any chance they could sell up to Brendan Rodgers' side?
It's one to keep an eye on. It, like I say, it's a bit of a worrying one. Whenever you speak to Liam Moore, he's so happy at where he is at the moment. He had a few moves all around about the place, and he's just happy he's really settled now. And I think it would take a big offer to get him away. I think it'd have to be a big step up. Obviously, he loves working on the Yap as well, and asked Yap about it yesterday, and he obviously couldn't say definitely no, but he sort of said he definitely doesn't want to lose him, and he's a big part of his team, and I think many fans see him as a future captain one day, maybe if he stays around that long. He says he's just signed a new contract, so it's going to take a lot of money to get him out of the club, and I don't think he's not in a desperate hurry to move on. He's obviously at a good age as well, where he's developing well at Reading, playing week in, week out, and if you move away, you can't guarantee you're going to stay in the team either. So yeah, it's something. I think it's something that might rumble on a little bit. It's not too much of a worry just yet because the window is so far away, and obviously if Reading's form doesn't pick up or whatever, then his name will fall away off the radar again. But I think it's only natural if Reading start winning games. He's probably going to be one of the stand-up players just because he's one of Reading's best players, really. They obviously picked him up so cheap last year, and he was brilliant for probably the best signing they've made under Brian Teverden, maybe. But
absolutely, yeah.
So it's something that's going to happen. I think he's a young English centre back, and English teams and Celtic maybe are going to keep an eye on him. And when January comes around, it's a name that will probably pop up in a few rumours. But he's got to hope that he'll at least see out the season, see how it goes then. And I'm pretty confident he would do that unless a really big offer came in for him.
Definitely, yeah. I think I can see him playing Premier League football within the next sort of 2-3 years, but whether that is with Reading or whether he does make a step up, then that remains to be seen. So a couple of little news bites from the international break then. Paul McShane was with the Ireland squad. He didn't play at all in either their playoff games against Denmark. Obviously they drew the first leg 0-0, and then it was 5-1 to Denmark in Ireland, unfortunately. So no Paul McShane or Liam Kelly perhaps at the World Cup next summer. Chris Gunter, though, he earned his 85th cap for Wales in a friendly versus Panama on Tuesday, which drew him level with the late Gary Speed, making him the joint most capped outfield player of all time for Wales. Also 7 away from the complete record of Neville Southall, and he also captained Wales for the first time against Panama. David Edwards also played that game. A quick word on Chris Gunter, Tom. It's a fantastic achievement for him, isn't it? Yeah,
it's incredible. When you see his stats have obviously popped up quite a lot recently, and he just seems to play every minute of every game for the last however many years, and you wonder quite how he does it in this sort of modern age of so many games in the Championship and such intensity. But he's there every week. He's obviously this season playing on the left a bit, as well as on the right, and he divides opinion sometimes with some fans. I think his sort of his end product in the attacking third isn't perhaps up there with some of the other players, but he's just so reliable, and he's just it's exactly the sort of person you want in your squad. You know he's going to be there. You know he's going to be fine. I don't want to jinx him or anything by saying too much, but yeah, he's just gone through so many seasons now, and he's such a professional player and gets on with the job and does it really well. And obviously for Wales, obviously I think he's 28 now, so he'll pass the 100 caps, you'd imagine, and
definitely, yeah.
He's been a brilliant servant for them as well as for Reading, and yeah, nothing but praise for him really for the way he goes about his job. And obviously Yap's delighted with him in the squad, and he's someone that obviously he's signed a new deal as well recently. There was a little bit of talk about whether he would linked to Middlesbrough, I think it was, over the summer. But yeah, he's got no plans to move away at the moment, and I think Reading should be glad to have him, really, even though sometimes he can be a bit frustrating to watch. But yeah, he's such a reliable player, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet every week.
Definitely, yeah. So the main thing actually really to take from the international break is that fortunately we picked up no major injuries, whether that be players obviously with their countries or training back at Reading. How are we looking on sort of the injury front? Are there many players coming back into contention for this weekend against Wolves?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, when you look at the actual injury list, it's a lot longer than you probably realise when you go through each one. The same players, sort of knocks and what have you. But Vito Minoni sounds like he's going to be fine. There was obviously a rumour about him being out for a few weeks, but he's got a small hip problem.
I'm not too sure where that came from. Yeah.
No, likewise. But yeah, he had a small hip problem from the Derby game, but they're confident that he's going to be fine to play the weekend, which is a big boost. Thiago Olly as well should be back after his concussion. He had a week training without heading the ball or anything, and then he's had another week now back in full training, stitches out, so he's fine to be back in the squad.
That's definitely a lot better than first thought as well. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a horrible injury, and luckily he came home pretty quickly from that, and it's just been standard recovery. I think now he's back up to full speed, and yeah, he's back involved, which is another good bonus to have. And then I think there's fitness tests on a few guys as well. Aluko picked up a knock against Derby. He's been sort of training in sort of the gym most of the time over the international break, but they're hoping he can be at least on the bench. Similar with Liam Kelly as well, who's obviously had injury problems this season, but he's on his way back. And then you've got Bodvarsson, who said he's just a matter of days away from fitness now. So whether it's Saturday or next week, he's going to be back involved pretty soon. I'm not sure if he'll start at the weekend. Or if
Kermagant.
I think Kermagant. I think it's quite likely he's going to start against Wolves. So whether Bodvarsson's on the bench for that one or plays against, I think it's Bolton on Tuesday. So he's closing in, and then you've got the other guys who are still a little bit away. McCleary and Evans, and the longer term ones are still not back yet. So that's sort of the roundup from that side. I say a few of them facing fitness tests ready before the weekend, but Minoni and Olly are definitely back involved.
Ahead to that Wolves game then, obviously it looks to be a very, very tough fixture at the moment. Wolves obviously top of the table by 2 points. They've won 5 of their last 6. They're the division's top scorers with 29 goals, and they've sort of really turned themselves around under Nuno Espirito Santo, obviously quite heavily spending in the summer to sort of turn themselves into promotion favourites. If you look at their danger men, there's 2 main threats. There's Bonatini, who's got 10 goals and 4 assists this season, and Diego Jota, 7 goals, 2 assists this season. They're their 2 main threats. Of the stand-up names, obviously you got Ruben Neves, who obviously made headlines with his move in the summer. Ivan Cavallero, and then John Ruddy in goal. We spoke ahead of the Middlesbrough game a couple of weeks ago, saying that they've got a squad packed full of quality, and that could be Reading's toughest test this season. But is this now Reading's toughest test this season? By Dave Wolves at top of the table by 2 points and looking almost unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, they've had a couple of blips along the way, but I remember doing the show at the very start of the season with Dan and tipped Wolves to win the league then, and I haven't seen anything to sort of change my mind on that one. They've just bought such quality players. They've got Champions League players in their team, so I think Ruben Neves was away of Portugal over the international break, so he's obviously probably going to be going to the World Cup. So they've got such a brilliant squad. I think they started last season quite well and beat Reading comfortably at the start of last season, but they've seemed to be another level up again this year. They obviously held Man City as well in the Cup, despite resting quite a lot of players against a strong City team. They've recruited, they've spent a lot of money on it, but that's sort of their plan. They want to get up to the Premier League pretty quickly, and I think it's going to take, I can't see anyone stopping them personally. I think they'll be going up this year, and it's going to be a tough test to Reading, but I mean, last season Brighton and Newcastle came to the Master and left. I think it was both games were a draw, so
we took a point off that.
Yeah, Reading can compete with these teams, but I think Wolves is going to be a real tough test, and it's going to be a marker really to see just how far they have come from the struggles at the start of the season, and hopefully they can just compete with them and show that they can get back up there to their sort of level. But yeah, Wolves are certainly got a strong squad and probably the strongest in the league.
If Reading were to be to come away with a win against Wolves, do you think that would sort of boost their own sort of promotion odds in terms of the bookies and of course with the punters as well?
I'd imagine so. Yeah, I think anyone who beats them at the moment people are gonna stand up and take notice. I think there's a little bit of that when they beat Derby. So if they can back that up by beating Wolves, then people are suddenly going to look at it and go, "Well, we're going to be back in the playoff hunt again." Everyone will probably start talking about Yap Stam again in a positive light, and it all flips around so quickly. But yeah, I think Wolves lost at QPR though, so there obviously is that. There is that sort of thing maybe in the back of their heads that they can be got at somehow. But yeah, like you say, it'll be a massive confidence boost to everyone, and suddenly everyone will be thinking maybe we can do something this year, when after it was pretty much written off after the first few weeks. Everyone was saying it's just trying to consolidate this year, but if they can beat Wolves, then everyone will be looking upwards again, and it'll be a big confidence booster if they can. But I think they just need to try and put a performance in more than anything, and rather than having to win it, because I think it's going to be a tough ask.
Prediction league wise then, I think as I mentioned earlier, no one said that Reading would come away from Derby with a win, but you are indeed still top of the prediction league with 8 points, joint with Wim and Mark. Johnny and Handbags then on 7, Westy is then on 6. So Tom, what are you going to go for this weekend against Wolves?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Wolves. I think they've just got such a good team, but I think Reading have got as good a chance of anyone that's pushing them, and like I say, I just hope they can put in a good performance and use that as a sort of a confidence booster, because I think over the next few weeks they've certainly got a lot of winnable games, but this one I think they might fall just short in.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I would definitely take a point right now. I thought I would finish actually on a little bit of a discussion on the women's team, who I know are doing very, very well at the moment. They're into the Conti Cup quarterfinals with a game to spare after beating London Bees 4-0 yesterday at the Medeski Stadium. Got a very good attendance there as well. And last weekend they were the first team to score and take points off Chelsea in the WSL, and they've had a couple of other good results. And before that, it's a really good feeling around the women's team at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was at both those games, and they're getting really good crowds now. There's over 1,000. It's a bit of a trip over to Adams Park for some of the fans, I suppose, but they got over 1,000 for that Chelsea game and played brilliantly and got a lot of attention out of that one, deservedly so. They probably should have won it, to be fair, but they got a good draw against them. And then last night it was 2,200, which is the biggest crowd I think in England this season. So it's a great effort by everyone at the club there to get those sort of numbers down there. I mean, they didn't play particularly great, to be honest, especially in the first half, but it's 4 goals, and you've got to hope that these sort of performances will get people to keep coming back. I think they'd like to play a few more games at the Madstad in the future, and with attendances like that, that's certainly a positive sign and something that they can try and build on, because they've recruited some really good players now, and they've steadily built over the last few years, and they've beat some of the big teams recently, so they're trying to push up towards the top end of the league now, and they're certainly showing that they've got the squad capable of doing that, and they've got a great management team in there as well.
Fantastic stuff. What can we expect on the Wokingham paper in the next couple of days? Obviously looking ahead to the Wolves game as well. Yes,
obviously there's more from the women's game last night, and then there's for the Wolves game we spoke with Yap and Jan Kermagant at Hogwood yesterday, so there's a preview from those two coming up online over the next couple of days as well.
Fantastic stuff. So in terms of the main show, I think Mark and Sim are going to do a post-Bolton game. Obviously the Bolton game's on Tuesday night. I won't get your prediction for that now. Obviously that could affect what happens on Saturday as well. In terms of the socials, is it Tom J. Crocker on Twitter?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And obviously for the Tilehurst End, it's at the Tilehurst End, facebook.com/the Tilehurst End, and also YouTube. The YouTube channel is also the Tilehurst End as well, which you can listen to this show on. Other than that, Tom, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Olly. Cheers.
No worries. And we will be back next week to look ahead to... My mind's gone completely blank. Sheffield Wednesday. Lovely stuff. Cheers, Tom. And all that's left today is come on, you R's.
Get social with the boys.
Find them on Twitter
at the Tilehurst End
and facebook.com/the Tilehurst End.